So I'm Haikal, 38 years old, live here by myself. I enjoy family, friends. Being disconnected to a beautiful park was wondrous to me. It was a very rare find that I thought, oh, this is something I should really seriously consider. So there you go. I needed a park rather than a mall. So after I wake up, what I would do is usually if it's a day where I have to rush because there's an early call in 5 minutes, right? So I just come here and I would make my coffee first, and then I'll be going to my study area where I will start my work calls early in the morning.
So of course, like here we have like the very fancy Phoenix laminates, the anti-figure print, which we love.
Which I really like, yeah. I love also, you know what, the color between this and this. This is so lovely and warm, and then I get a bit of a cooling effect. As a kitchen, I don't need to be so bright and white. I just need a kind of mood to it that I feel is very, very cozy and comfortable. This space has multiple functions. So what I like about this cute corner is that it's not just pleasing to look at. We've got a feature wall here that has my plants, but it's also functional where we hang, you know, our onions or things to dry and some of our pans and pots. So I would host quite a bit. And I know that I wanted a dining table that could fit at least 6, but preferably 8. The harmonious nature of lines meeting very naturally and organically, and I wanted that, and that in itself is an embrace back to the park, where you see all these curves and it's beautiful to look at, and it's now reflected back in the house as well. Everything is in harmony between this home and what you see outside.
So actually how we did the curve, even though there was no wall here, is to repeat the curvature both on the ceiling and the floor, so that there's this sense of like that curve and that envelope, and it creates the division between the two spaces, even though it's like an open concept.
A home is part of your identity. Is an extension of how I see myself, how I see life. It's some place that brings me serenity and happiness, but it's also a place that, you know, sees my stress or sorrows. I talk to my home. It's me and the home and my thoughts, and my home has seen it all, right? So my home is actually also a very personal friend that sees all my thoughts. So the part about the entrance that entrances me is the fact that my house is open, and therefore you could already see everything. So that to me brings comfort already when entering, and you can see everything laid out. So you are at the position of, I would say, embrace, and then you could also already straight away see the view, which gives you that serenity already. So that's what I like about just coming in, and you can already see everything. And then I opened up the kitchen, of course, with you during our renovation. And the kitchen was at first just an aisle, but we opened it up and pushed it against the wall. And I think that's something that's great, because when I'm in the kitchen and I have guests in, I would still love to interact and host them. So this sort of arrangement right now that we did with the house together facilitates that very well, and I really enjoy that.
One key thing, like in Japanese design, if you see how their spaces are so compact and tight, but they have such large windows, it is actually a way for them to enjoy that space outdoors when they're right next to the window. So that's why you always have like tatami rooms, and then there's these huge windows, and like you can look out and it's part of the garden. So that was what I was going for with the round table, so that you don't feel like when you're working, you're like in this shell or like in this corner by the door, but there are like elements, which is why there's that hole on the table, by the way. Very solid study table that is embedded and unmovable.
Yeah.
Maybe tell us a bit more about the area and how you use the space.
Yeah, so I would be seated here. So this is my workspace. And I actually, first thing that I did about this space to prepare for it was to look for the chairs. So I got this. That was my main concern about having a study exposed to a living area, about chairs not looking too officey.
Yeah, so actually what we did here for all the tabletops, right? instead of having the entire tabletop as a marble, we had difficulty, of course, cladding and having it curved. So to keep the curve but yet making the tabletop still functional, we actually embedded a piece of like marble tile, so that you still can write and then it doesn't dirty the top.
You see somebody is lying down there now and just relaxing, right? So watching other people relaxing there also relaxes me, Looking at that kind of calms you down as well, alongside with the water.
Maybe also tell us, like, just taking a few steps back, I remember you went through a lot of ideas. So I mean, surely there were so many ideas, like why this idea?
It's an interesting question because I never expected to meet 10 designers. I can get quite obsessive, I guess, when I go into projects, both personal or work. You really opened up the possibility of what we could do. Everyone else was pretty much following my brief in a standard way, and it's quite expected and predictable. So that's while pleasing to know that they listened to what I needed to know. You also listened and you also added your own unique perspective into your plan and design. As I said, like a home to me, an ideal picture would be someplace that is tranquil and calm you down. So I thought Japandi would be a great idea, and I also saw a lot of Japandi examples from Pinterest, and I was like, I can like this, I'm into this. And then suddenly, well, not suddenly, but then it kind of grew into a whole beast on its own that wasn't like that at all. And I guess that's my true nature coming out in terms of what I preferred, and you helped to facilitate that.
Then suddenly, like when the whole process of like these few months that we finished the project, I was like, oh, this is Heiko. Like it makes so much sense now. So I feel like, oh, my gut sense is not entirely wrong. Like he is a lot more than like what he first presented, and I could feel like this is like home, like this is you, like it connects. Sometimes I feel like every time I see a lot of like homes, I feel there's a disconnect with like the person itself. But for you, it's like, oh, it makes sense, and I'm really glad that the space is the way it is now.
So now I understand that you should embrace yourself, embrace what you like, and embed that in your plan and design for a home. Don't have something aspirational that is something that you like on Pinterest. It still has to talk about you. And I had that opportunity with you, which I am very thankful for, so thank you for that.
So actually behind this curtain is the hallway of Curiosities. It's meant to have Heiko's many photos filled all the way to the ceiling and the walls, but it's a work in progress like any house. We have like the tartan on the floor. We have like the terracotta, and then we mixed it with terrazzo. It was a challenge to make so many materials work together, but it worked out well, and we were quite happy with it. We actually tied the whole color scheme with the greens and the terracotta with this image, which is, I believe, a print from David Hockney. This was the tea room we're talking about.
Yeah. Or a guest room.
A guest room, tea room, where we have the storage carpentry.
So ultimately, I guess this room is multi-purpose, for myself, for the guests, but it's also a storeroom with the multiple storage places here, including this beautiful cupboard that you designed.
So actually we recommended something really complicated in this corner because we wanted when people draw open the curtain, they'll be shocked. And that is, we feel quite Heiko. If you read the book, interior book called Chambers of Curiosities, that in the past they have cupboards filled with all these little knickknacks. So we wanted to recreate that look.
I really like with this curtain how I can choose to close off if I need a private space, either with a curtain or with the door, or actually sometimes both if I need absolute quiet from what's happening outside. So I like that there's a combination of options that I can choose to just go fully private.
So we like that it's super private, when guests comes, they will not even see anything in the master even when they pass by the corridor to the toilet. That was the main purpose why we recommended to have a curtain in front of the master room door, so that people won't even think that there is a room here.
And one practical use about the curtain as well, right, is actually if you use the air conditioning for the living spaces, and I don't need to have it here, this is also good to separate the air and the spaces between the two. Yeah, so that's very practical use of these curtains here.
Having to close like all 3 doors. Just
Exactly, yeah. So it's just easier to just draw that curtain when you use the air conditioning.
This was the area where it was previously the toilet.
Yeah.
So the door to the toilet was, I believe, somewhere here, right?
Correct.
And because we felt like this space was taking up so much property in the bedroom, and you have to squeeze your bed over onto this side, which is why we decided to open it up and then just keep it to the toilet and the shower, which made like this room so much more spacious. In order to fit this wardrobe here and have that walking space with the bed, we actually had to utilize a bit of the wall on the outside. So what we did was we also hacked down this wall just to reclaim that extra like 200 mm, so that the space became a bit more sensible.
And I think with that, every piece of millimeter that we save, it's great because I have ample space for me to just sort of dress up and use the wardrobe here.
This angle is like my favorite like Pinterest moment. I don't know, something with the artwork, the blues with the terracotta, then there's a couple of shades of blues, like there's a dark blue navy, then there is this like teal blue, which I absolutely love the combination. This is my favorite spot by far.
So I would put my laptop here and I would do my work calls from here. And I've also used this space for stretching and yoga. We put the mat here. It's ample space actually. Yeah.
So actually, like, I created this corridor space to house all the doors in the house as a feature as well, because if you stand in any room, right, you can see all 3 rooms. Yeah, any doorway you can see all 3 rooms. So it's like there is this like maze idea going on, which is also why I call it the Chamber of Curiosities. Like, just make people excited and curious about things. Yeah. And it's in the heart of the house. Oh, can I show you the toilet? There's a secret. You can come in. So
there's mops and everything.
yeah, so actually for toilets we always don't have space for like mops and all that. So because of the curved wall, there was this like funky little corner here, which we actually created into like a mini storeroom for all like the storage and pills, which is why you don't see them anywhere in the house, even though it's like such an open concept. And we hid it right behind the door. So it's like, voila, like no one knows. Yeah. The tiles.
Yes. So we did the tiles, and I really love the idea that you had for this, right? Where we had this sort of grayish olive green color and the terracotta, which is placed randomly, and this kind of reflects the color scheme that we had inside as well.
If like there's a fire and you only can bring away one thing, like what would that be?
I will bring my sofa out.
Why?
I like it, it's one of my favorite things. So you ask me one thing that I'll bring out in the fire, I'll drag my sofa out lah. Also, you know, didn't come cheap.
So like, kind of to wrap everything up, right? Like I think like when they come into your space, like people would naturally ask like, what style is this?
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Right.
I have that question before and I was actually quite stuck by it because I don't know what to call it, except that I could share with them that it started from this thing called Japandi and then it evolved into something else, and I don't know what that something else is. All I know is that it is a blend of what I really had in mind. And that blend actually sort of involves quite a bit of things. It's a bit of maximalist, it's a bit of eclectic, it's also a bit of Scandi maybe, I don't know.
I don't like labeling things.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? And then that other question that came to mind is, why do we need to label things and concepts? I mean, it could help you frame what you want to have in mind for your new place. But ultimately, it's about you, and you should not be labeled. Your things and what you like is all you.
I think being connected to everything that you curate and touch, and it must definitely make you feel something, and I can see that very strongly in your space, and I love it.
And I think for me that was quite easy because you see something you like and it really stands out within the first 2 seconds, for example. My rule is I should consider getting that.
No, Heiko. No. He has a hoarder problem. He really is doing that.
No. But that's where partner Faris comes in and he edits my thoughts in a good way. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yes, thank you again. Wish you were here.
Yeah, I wish you were not here.